Transmitting to you from Old Heart Radio.
Oh my fucking god.
Lord.
It's that time.
It is
about
that
to
time.
happen. Bowie. That's right, Bowie in house.
We're gonna leave that in?
Oh, probably.
Probably.
Most likely. Why? Because Old Heart Radio doesn't edit very well. Why? Because I don't have time to. Why? Because I do this for free.
What does Jared do? Haphazardly put echoes in everything.
To be honest, all the echoes in most of the shows are from a different episode.
What the fuck?
So at one point in time I put it in there and I just fucking forgot it was there. And so now it just hits something random every time I put a new audio track in.
Do you want us to actually take the time to edit?
I have very little control over this, people.
Do you want Jared and potentially myself to take extra time to edit and make sure these podcasts are as fine-tuned as possible? Well, then you need to donate some fucking money. Should we do a little...
Somebody pay me.
We got the Venmo on the link tree. Why don't we just start with the call to action? How about that? Because everybody likes few things more than being told to do stuff right when they're listening to something.
Have you ever felt like a piece of meat wrapped in a casing? Have you ever felt like being a little more? You could dip yourself in some boiling water and boil yourself on up like a real hot dog and let us batter you up.
There you go.
Like a real corn dog.
If you want to become a corn dog.
That's all fucking nonsensical. Nobody's been following on this. Who's this other jackass talking about fucking hot dog?
If you want to be a corn dog, though, you got to go and subscribe on YouTube. You got to follow us on social media. That includes Twitter and Instagram. Twitter's Old Heart and Space. You got to go onto Spotify. Give us a listen. Give us a follow.
Oh, yeah.
Like the show. Give us a rating. We got a 5-star review. We
got a 5-star review?
Yeah.
Which one of our friends put it there?
Probably Kate. No, but if you enjoy the show, that's all the support we'd like to ask of you. Just tell some friends.
Yeah.
We enjoy doing this.
We don't ask for much.
We don't ask for much.
We're just telling you to fucking listen to the podcast. All right? We've been making this shit for a while now. There's tons to dig into. Like a lot of weird shit, a lot of entertainment-based shit. There's a lot of me ranting. There's 3 years worth of podcasts of me ranting. So get along. Get as we type. Get it on.
What is really entertaining?
What's that?
Listening to me get absolutely rinsed on Under Further Review.
Hey man, sometimes and the boys can attest to this. The council can attest. A cleansing needs to happen every now and then. Apparently,
I was so fucking upset by that. Didn't take it personally, but I was like, these motherfuckers didn't appreciate my playlist.
Sons of bitches.
It didn't make me question my taste. It made me question why I recommended certain things. And I went home and in what I can only describe as a slightly vindictive yet also incredibly righteous rage, immediately create another playlist.
Hey man, that's it. If it's I feel like that'll happen probably as we keep going with that. Some people might be just like, well, shit, man, I gotta get them fucking back.
I gotta win them over.
That's the thing. You could put that's the fun about asking people to build playlists. There is we don't ask for any control over what you put on there. Everybody, every time I ask, people are like, well, what should I build it around? And I'm like, whatever the fuck you want.
It is your taste.
It's your taste. You could even not even do you could make your own guilty pleasures playlist, or you could put an all boy bands playlist there and make us suffer. That's the thing. We're gonna listen to it and judge it either way.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's a blast.
Fun. And the council we all have a fucking blast doing it.
It was a good time, even though I left and went, these fucks.
These damn bastards.
These bastards. I really enjoyed Under Further Review. You all are recording the 20th episode, big milestone. It's going to be coming up in a few days, probably after this.
Big 2-0.
Big 2-0. Any, what's on Whack Arnold's this week?
Ooh. The Whack Arnold's. I mean, we're doing a 80s horror movie retrospective. So it's
Fun.
it's a 3-part it's going to be the next 3 episodes of that show.
Cool.
We're breaking it down by years, so it's like we start out with 1980 through 82, then we go 83 through 86, 86 through 89.
Yeah.
And it's just because it's a huge year for horror, or a huge decade for horror.
Yeah,
so
there was a huge growth of the genre at that point.
Yeah, and so it's going to be a really fun kind of break from the norm with those,
And as the resident wuss, I just co-host the fucking Blockbuster show here, Matinee Edition.
Hey man, I mean, horror is like it's a particular thing. Like, it's not for everybody. And, and we talk kind of about that on the next episode coming up, because it's like there's some pretty fucking polarizing movies on the list that we talk about there. So
corn dogs, you got a lot of shit to listen to.
Exactly.
After listening to this podcast, because let's be real, Matinee Edition is the one you're here for. You're listening to it right now. You better be here for it. Hey, you know how we start the show usually?
Hey.
Not to get sample after sample. How do we start the show? It's the Gaming Minute.
What do we got?
Welcome, folks, to the Gaming Minute here with Lucas and Jared at Matinee Edition and Old Heart Radio. I'm watching Parks and Rec, and it's like the fucking the public radio voice.
Oh yeah,
filling in for such and such, filling in for such and such.
Clint Lipmore. I don't know.
Nah.
Yeah, it is pretty standard. Like, you hear it every morning on NPR. It's very real.
I think no, but Gaming Minute. The gentlemen on Order for the Review have played the game. I've talked about it multiple times, but as of today, the Destiny 2 expansion, The Witch Queen, is released. I played it before coming and recording. It's very fun.
It is like very like kaiju monster heavy.
Yeah.
Looking, which is interesting. It's like always kind of fun to see that shit.
Yeah.
So
I think
so. It's like they're like a mixture of like the Flood and like other sorts of like horror monster kind of looking things,
Yeah.
This the Hive, or what? It's kind of.
And also, they
cool.
they introduced
It's very scary
glaives as a new weapon type. Play with them this morning. Very fun. Glaive, like a spear with a shotgun on the end.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Fuck shit up.
Yeah. I think when there's an evolution of gameplay going on here as well, because you're fighting people. The Hive somehow managed to grasp control of the same abilities you have. Fun sequence here. The supers from either side hitting each other over and over again.
Interesting, man.
Yeah. Which is this fucking... I've said it before when looking at this expansion and like the other promotional material, but it's like that's a fucking crazy thing in Destiny.
Look at that shit.
And also, this is... I think one thing that I find that I really have to admire Bungie for is they've come up with a storytelling method that is incredibly unique in the gaming space, that has like allowed them to build up characters over a long period of time and make it incredibly satisfying. Like the Witch Queen Savathun, who is the monster at the end there.
Yeah.
She has been hyped up for like 6 years. And it's just been like there have been like these little things that she's been pulling the strings, but she's been keeping herself hidden away.
Yeah.
And essentially, like a year ago, they said all of this is building up to Savathun finally emerging, and she's going to knock over a bunch of dominoes. All the stuff that she's been setting up is going to just sort of cascade into her leading her own expansion finally as a major antagonist.
Hell yeah. So, yeah, and that's what this is?
Yes. So it's been hyped up for a long time, and it's a character that everyone in the Destiny community has been really excited to see, especially if you know, like myself, you're a fucking lore nerd. You can
lore nerd.
It becomes incredibly exciting. Their storytelling model for the past few years has been like major expansion and then quarterly new story.
Okay, yeah.
And it's like in those quarterly releases, it's like week to week there's like a new story quest that takes like a couple hours that you can just knock out in like one sitting, and you get a huge chunk of new narrative development.
Nice.
So, and it really allowed them to create an interesting serialized story that builds up between releases, where there's no real like downtime. It keeps players engaged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it would. It would just keep you kind of coming back and
Exactly.
keep your attention.
Even if it's not the primary thing you're playing, it's like you can just sort of step in once in a while and be like, oh, I have a ton of like cool story stuff to go into.
Yeah.
Especially in a wide universe. I think I was mentioning this to you before we recorded. Destiny's for the true believers right now. It's like, it's intimidating how much shit there is in the game, and it's free to play, which is a blessing and a curse because people can just sort of hop in not really knowing what the fuck to do.
What does that, and does that like screw with
It does.
what's going on?
We talked about the vaulting of content a while back where they took parts of the game that were like 5-ish years old out because they weren't serving a purpose other than making the newer stuff buggy and or breaking the game.
Yeah. Which, I mean, might not be bad if it's like gonna if it's screwing up like the overall gameplay.
Yeah. And I agree with that.
But it also gets rid of like some of the things you want.
Yeah,
right?
and because of that, one of the byproducts of that is that it's made it very difficult for new players to like sequentially understand everything. Enough so that they added like a timeline of events that you can go to in the menu.
You are here.
Exactly, where you can essentially go back and like read up on what's happened.
Okay.
People still get fucking lost because there's so much shit.
Because there's so much at this point.
As somebody that's played since like day one in 2014, because I was like these are the Halo guys. This I've quite a reverence for them. Bungo. I've quite a reverence for them as developers, and I played from day one, and I've like came and went through the whole time, but enough that I never really lost track of the overarching narrative. I'm down. Can I recommend it to everyone? No, but that said, I'm totally gonna try to get the Under Further Review guys into it.
You can talk to the council.
I gotta get the council on. I'm definitely gonna get you on if I can get the council.
Maybe, man. I mean, it's one of those games like you were just talking about, though. It's like there's so much to it that you have to like put attention to it if you want to get out of anything out of it.
And I think I do think it is rendered more approachable if you know people that are into it, and you can have somebody sort of like guide you in while like all these game systems are getting thrown at you.
I'll say it. It's on my PS4.
There you go. For the people that are just like, oh, I'm gonna download Destiny. Don't know anyone. Don't know any like content creators that specifically like create content about the game. It's like, how the fuck am I supposed to do anything? I don't know what's going on.
You're just in a big wide world all on your own.
Exactly. That's how it feels, man.
Well, I mean, sometimes it's like that's like what people want. They want to dive in onto the unknown.
Yeah. Which, I mean,
I can see sometimes that being appealing, but
I mean, yeah, it's like it's how numbers can't really tell the full story, because if you were going strictly off of the amount of content, Destiny's like a ridiculously good deal for a free-to-play game.
Fair enough, yeah. It's because there's so much.
But there's so much that it's like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with all of this?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, I'm the case in point. Like, I keep logging on every now and then I'm like, I don't know what I'm fucking doing at this moment, and then nor do I want to think about it, and so I turn it off.
Exactly. I think it's definitely one of those games you need to devote time to.
You do.
That said, very satisfying. Games like that, they're either hit or miss, and they have their audiences, or they don't.
Yeah, but either way, it looks like it's like this next storyline is going to be pretty fucking epic.
Yeah, just wait. I'll do maybe when me and Kate's show finally gets on the air, maybe I'll do an episode, throw like some soft music in the background, and do like an 8-hour long episode about the history of the Destiny universe.
You have to break that one up into parts.
Nah, one take.
I just sat down and just went for it.
Yeah, full work day.
That'd be just fucking gnar.
Put gnarly. Up 0 listens.
1v1 YouTube. God damn it.
Bastards.
Yeah. Well,
so one more final thing with the gaming minute.
Mm-hmm.
What is the most iconic franchise and video game movie like adaptations right now?
I really don't know.
What? Sonic the Hedgehog, sir.
Oh, okay.
So ahead of the release of Sonic 2, ahead of the release of fucking Sonic the Hedgehog 2, they've confirmed there's gonna be a third movie, and Knuckles TV show with Idris Elba continuing to do the voice.
My God, they're already. Here comes negative Jared. They're already beating this horse to death. I enjoyed the fucking first Sonic movie.
Not a bad movie.
It was actually entertaining.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to once the Sonic 2 hits streaming to watch it because I'm not going to go to the theaters to see it.
No.
But like they're already banking on like the second one being a success, that they're going to cast start working on a show. And it's like nobody even asked for a fucking show at this point.
No.
You don't even know if the second one's going to take. You don't even know if the characters are all going to do well enough on screen together that they're going to be like, yes, please give us more. You're just banking on people wanting Idris Elba's voice.
Yeah.
And though that is great and better than my own, I will say it's like, I don't know. It's just like you're jumping the fucking gun, man.
Was it you that said a while back that like there's some like fucking mom bringing her kids to the theater that's like, ooh, Idris Elba's in this?
Oh, you know it, man. Like, you know, some mom is going to the theater just to like
hear the sultry voice,
store that in the bank. Idris Elba's voice, store it in the bank for some other time, and it's just. It's got a lot of appeal. I want to watch it because Jim Carrey's funny as fuck. Like, I'm not going there for James Marsden or whatever the fuck his name is that played Cyclops. Like,
oh my God, I forgot that.
I'm going there for the like Sonic 2 homage and Jim Carrey. Like,
a lot of people when a while back there was a rumor that Jim Carrey was going to be in like a Marvel movie.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
It was like Ant-Man 3, I believe.
I mean, there's been so many wild, just
Bill Murray.
It was the Bill Murray one that I think made everybody convinced that Jim Carrey was going to do something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I think people were like, yeah, I mean, Eggman is sort of like he can use some of that, and you got a reasonably good MODOK.
You could, yeah. I mean, I still just maintain, like, especially with the MODOK character, just a complete random note, like, they should just continue. Well, they already cast Patton Oswalt as Pip, but
yes,
they should have, like, used him as MODOK as well because he did such a great job in the series.
He's doing a voice for Pip.
Yeah.
They could just do a different voice.
I mean, not really. Like,
I guess you're right.
Not really, because once you kind of have your distinct voice on the character, like you can't use Vin Diesel for somebody other than Groot in the Marvel universe.
But they were going to,
because they're fucking They
were going to do Black Bolt.
Yeah, give it. I mean, that would have been just fucking on the nose and really great though.
It would be funny.
But yeah, I don't know. Like they just released some like new posters for Sonic 2, and like the promotion looks cool. The trailer looks like it's going to be another fun movie. Yeah. So like it is something to like I said, to watch eventually. But
what's the old heart radio barometer? It's like this looks better than Morbius.
Yeah, I guess if Morbius is at the bottom, then what would be at the top? Like,
I don't know, No Way Home.
Maybe
like just in like trailer hype,
Yeah,
I mean, how excited you get for a movie based on a trailer.
It's definitely more hype. I feel so weird saying it. It's more hype for Sonic 2 than Morbius, I guess. Yeah, mainly because there's just zero interest in that fucking movie. Like
enough.
I was reminded the other day that Tyrese is in that movie, and I was like, God, that gives me even less of a fucking reason to want to watch it. Like
for me, it gives me slightly more of a reason to want to watch it.
Oh God,
because Tyrese is ridiculous.
Tyrese is a fucking tool, and that's why he works so well in Fast and Furious. Which I'm just gonna say, the only Fast and Furious news we've had lately is that Jason Momoa might be in Fast 10, which is awesome.
Bowie has thoughts.
I know, Bowie. It is kind of disheartening. I want to know where they're at with that fucking movie, man.
Dude, maybe he's gonna be recasting Hobbs. Oh, Bowie's getting his Brock on.
How? Yeah, I'm not gonna chog with you, man. That would be really funny to me. Like that was my immediate thought. Like I was like, what if they just tried to recast Hobbs?
But Jason Momoa's not it. Who
Jason Momoa definitely wouldn't do that though, because that's also like replacing
The Rock.
Well, it's like replacing an indigenous actor with an indigenous actor, and like I don't think that they would do like he would be like that cool with it, because Jason Momoa genuinely seems like I don't know, a good person.
Yeah.
And I think he'd probably look at that as being like, this is fucking shady. So it's got to be a new character. That's all I'll say. But
who would actually be better if they wanted to recast Hobbs?
Recast Hobbs? I mean, it's like it's a role that was like just specifically for fucking The Rock basically after the first movie he was in. It was written for The Rock.
Speaking of actors playing two roles, I wouldn't.
Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel as the Hobbs.
Yeah.
Dude, that would be the ultimate. He's just
ultimate fuck you
throwing
to the
punches.
Rock.
He's just throwing punches at himself. Who wins that? Like, he has contractually obligated wins in certain fight scenes, or his character doesn't get fucked up as much.
Dude, it's like Sentry versus Hulk. They just fight to a standstill.
Yeah, exactly. The only person that can stop
Vin Diesel.
Yes, the Vin Diesel. This is Vin Diesel.
Toretto.
Yeah, Dom Toretto. One and the same.
Fast and Furious, you could say everybody's actor's name. I honestly didn't realize their character. Tej was not just named Ludacris for years.
Is that Luda's real name?
So his character's Luda, and his real name is Ludacris.
He was an undercover rapper
who knows tech stuff.
He's known all this. Yeah, Ludacris knows all that tech stuff. That's based on real life. You heard 100%. It here first.
Yeah. But then at the same time, if I ever see the actor that plays Han, his name is just Han.
Well.
Or actually, his canonical name in Fast and Furious. Do you know his full name?
It's like Han. It's like Han Solo or whatever.
It's right? Han Sol, like the city. Low.
Yeah.
Ha.
Well.
Fucking funny.
He just needs a good blaster by his side, and that's.
Hey.
He'll be set, man.
It's a shame there's no Kenobi news, because that would be a great segue.
Yeah, man. I'm still hurting on that lack of Kenobi. I saw this. I'll say this. There's this interesting fan poster going on around on Twitter right now, and it's it shows kind of like a desert, Tatooine desert sort of setting, and Obi-Wan's standing in front of this Star Destroyer that's coming at, and there's a bunch of troops around, and some people are like, oh yeah, dude, this would be fucking epic, and
that's not what I want.
Exactly. And I was just looking at that, and that was my I agree with some people that were talking about that. And I was just I don't want that out of an Obi-Wan movie. There's never precedent for him taking on the Empire post fucking Revenge of the Sith. And so
I liken what I want from Obi-Wan more so to Mad Max. Not in the fact that he's fucking crazy, but I think the pseudo anthology stories where Mad Max just sort of stumbles across a random group of people and chooses to help them. I feel like that's very Obi-Wan. Having sort of being in exile, just sort of getting help where he needs it.
Yeah.
Some kind people.
I do think you might see some of that sort of samurai wanderer vibe.
Yeah.
Which would be really interesting.
Totally. Likens to some of the inspirations of Star Wars.
Exactly. And I think that would be a very interesting element to include into the place that character's at. You know what I mean?
Actually there's a piece of Kenobi news. Huh? They cast young Leia.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's
I forget the girl, but she's like an 8-year-old, I think.
So yeah, that'll be. I wonder what they're going to include Princess Leia with. Wow. It's going to run the risk of I
know there's Leia knows who Obi-Wan is, and
because of her adopted father. Was
and he's in it as well. The actor that played him in
really?
Rogue One and in the prequels.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah.
I love when they do that. I'm a
that's
sucker
cool.
for it.
In Rogue One wasn't that
Amidala, or not Amidala, Senator fucking. Why am I blanking on it?
I thought it was Amidala.
No, that's Princess Amidala. That was Natalie Portman's character.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Organa.
Yeah.
My God, Amidala, Organa.
Yeah, Bail Organa.
Potatoes and tomato people.
I just know that guy from Sons of Anarchy, but
I never got into that show.
It's really good in up until the last couple seasons, and then it doesn't get bad, but it gets so ridiculous that it cheapens itself.
Fair enough. You're you've gone over the top
because it starts with gritty crime drama. Motorcyclers. They're sort of edgy. They're pieces of shit. But then by the end, it's like spycraft and that type of shit. It's going off the rails. Everyone's dying. Government corruption. It's this is a motorcycle club. Fuck off.
How do we get here?
Hey, Ron Perlman is fucking incredible in that show, though. Oh no.
Well, I'll move that. Don't worry about that.
When Jared moves this, you're not gonna be able to hear it, but the theme song just started playing, so we thought,
hey, man,
we're already done.
Well,
no, that's fun show if you have nothing else to watch.
I guess there's been multiple times that I've just passed up watching it. So.
I mean, it's definitely a vibe. I watched it because my parents were watching it and I was living at home and I was just like, I have nothing better to do.
Yeah. What else is good? What is that? Oh, I wanted to talk about, I was thinking about this last night while we were watching the episode. We haven't talked about the Righteous Gemstones at all on this show. Have you watched any of that show?
No.
It's on HBO. It stars Danny McBride and, my God, John Goodman.
Oh, wow.
And it's about both of them play characters that are in a family of like people that own and run a mega church.
Huh.
And it's like corrupt as shit. There's like crazy shit that goes on. It's fucking awesome. And it has what's his name? Adam from Workaholics. Adam Devine or what? Levine or whatever. No, Levine. Which one is it? Levine's the guy from Maroon 5, right?
Adam Levine is the guy from
Levine.
Yeah, from Maroon 5.
That dude's a douche, but the guy, the guy from Workaholics, he's in it, and
Adam Levin.
Yeah, he plays like a really fucking like weird character named Kelvin, who's like the youngest sibling, but.
So what was it? The Righteous Gemstones?
Yeah, Righteous Gemstones. I'm surprised you haven't heard about it.
I haven't heard about it at all.
Oh yeah, dude. There's been so much hype. It's on like season 2 right now, and it's about to wrap up. Season 1 was fucking crazy. This season's awesome too, and it definitely leaves you with some really cool edges. But it's one of the better shows on HBO right now. So
that
you
seems
definitely
like
got
right
check it out if you're
pickings
using it.
for comedies.
It's a great. I mean, it's a great idea, I think, and it comes from Danny McBride himself.
Cool.
Who wrote it, and I think I can't speak to it, but I think he might have directed at least a couple episodes.
Yeah. But
he nails his character as always. Just really fucking solid, really solid.
Cool.
But so it's like, that being said, the other thing that just kind of wrapped up on HBO.
I was going to make a segue earlier, but we sort of flowed into other subjects. Jason Momoa, fucking Peacemaker.
Yeah, Peacemaker finale.
No shit. That was a good episode as well.
It was. Yeah. It was solid. I would say
not the best episode.
I'd say the episode right before it was like a little bit better in some ways.
Yeah.
Mainly because you get so much heavy character development, I feel like. And I think it's something you really want from some of the characters at this point. Well, I mean, you get character development from Peacemaker in the second to last episode. But
I feel like finales where it's not like a actual finale for a series are very difficult to nail.
Yeah, because they did we got to mention that. Peacemaker did get picked up for the second season, which is like, it's not a surprise because it's been wildly popular, but it's a little bit of a... Like, it's a good move. I think if they continue to keep up the momentum that they do, they can't pull off like as weighty of a story, I think, for the second season.
Yeah, I don't know. Difficult to say at this point.
But it's... Well, because it's like you do so much in this first season, not expecting it to be have a second season, and so it's like you got to really like rack your brain to see like where do you go now with these characters.
You've got Peacemaker still fucking traumatized. You saw the whole deal with.
But like some of these characters, you can tell. I just feel like you can tell weren't meant.
They don't have that
for
longevity.
Like more. They were meant for like the story arc that they had.
I get it. I wouldn't be surprised if fucking Obadiah was gone.
Yeah, that's one in particular. Like, I mean, I wonder. If they got like
she fucked Waller.
Yeah, she pulled a fucking Black Widow there. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean. And I guess like that's going to be one of the interesting things to see in the second season. That cliffhanger, as well as like, just seeing what the fuck Peacemaker and Vidge are about. But the finale itself,
very fun episode in my opinion. It's not like, it wasn't, like I said, not the best, but it's difficult for those kinds of episodes to be a finale, or to be like the best episode of the series. I think overall the big set piece was awesome. Them all gunning down the fucking butterflies while the theme song played was super fun to watch.
Epic moment.
The realization of like the butterflies' actual motives was also interesting and a good sort of challenge to Peacemaker's own ideology.
Yeah, but I like that he was just like, humans first. It was very like on point for Peacemaker.
But then you could also see they briefly at the end were like he was conflicted about it.
Oh, for sure. I mean,
he did empathize with their ideology and was able to understand where they were coming from, even though he ended up fucking murdering the cow.
But, which was awesome.
Which was hilarious.
I love that it wasn't even him murdering the cow. It was, he made somebody murder the cow.
Yeah.
We'll say. What was the phrase? It was like, what was it?
Actually, human torpedo?
Yeah, human torpedo. That was the helmet. Okay. I was like, dude, he sends Obadiah through the cow with a human torpedo. I love that it's like her, she uses it once and like bonks against the wall or whatever.
Obadiah, no!
Yeah. And then she's like discombobulated and still getting up. He's like sends her flying through the fucking alien cow thing.
Which, what a weird design for that, for the cow.
Oh man, that thing
one
was,
tooth.
That thing was like, that thing was gnarly looking. It
looked like he was suffering.
Oh, for sure. It's like probably for the best that they just killed that thing. It probably was like it was probably miserable just being trapped there and getting constantly milked.
Hey, fucking, if there's one thing that we can say, it's that Peacemaker and Vigilante have their work cut out for them because Evergreen needs a whole new police force.
That's the wild thing. If you think about like how many butterflies infected like that, all those officers, everybody, like
all the fucking inmates as well.
How are you gonna explain like all those people dying? You know what I mean? Like to like the public that doesn't know about the butterflies. Dude,
that was one of my questions about Stranger Things season 3, which we'll get into Stranger Things later.
Yeah, we do have some of that, man.
But when all the people fucking melted into the big monster, it's like that's a lot of people that just died.
Yeah. Somebody's gonna notice.
Somebody's gonna notice these fuckers are gone.
And that's kind of what I was thinking there. I was like, damn, dude, like that's gotta be like a quarter of the town.
I love that. I love the fucking shield fight that he had. Definitely winking nod to Captain America.
Yeah, dude. I mean, his gigantic ass shield was so fucking cool.
Dude, there was some, and also I gotta give him to it. Like we've talked about the practical effects in this show. Some of the practical wire work they did in that last fight was pretty fucking sick. Like there was one shot where he like pushed the guy up and then hit him back down with the shield.
Oh yeah.
You could tell it was all in camera. You could tell it was practical, just the fucking blood splatter added in.
Oh yeah.
A lot of actual prosthetics were used. That's like some snappy cuts for like bodies and stuff.
Definitely, man. It was
in some cases you could tell the butterflies were practical as well.
I was really glad that they just kind of kept following through with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's something me and David talk about on the Whack Arnold's all the time. Like practical effects, though it's like you understand why CGI can be like easier to pull some things off with, Like if you can do practical, like it always looks so much better from a viewer standpoint. I think. Like,
well, I think the sweet spot is a lot of nowadays. There are a lot of practical effects or like practical effects that don't directly incorporate something that a human body's capable of.
Yeah.
Are being like slightly aided or touched up with CGI, and that works really well.
Yeah, as long as it works. Like sometimes, anyway,
there's a sweet spot.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. Like
you can tell when something is overly CGI, and you can tell when something is like a shitty practical.
Yeah.
And I feel like Peacemaker nailed it, where the scope of what they used practical effects for was appropriate, and it made the show better rather than being like distracting and being like, we did that practically. Yeah.
Totally. Like it's definitely like they use practical effects to its advantage 100%. Yeah, it's like overall though, I mean like what a fucking banger of a show.
What a great show. And
I love from front to back. It was
the
like
Justice League cameo.
Yeah, the Justice League cameo was cool.
It was funny. It was funny.
I thought it was like I would have just like left it with just Aquaman and Flash.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have included the shadowed Superman and Wonder Woman. I was like, that's just kind of fucking stupid. Like if they're not going to be in it, just
you could only get these two on short notice.
Yeah. They were already making a joke about like where the fuck's the Justice League anyway? So send like the two auxiliary members,
which is funny, and it's a great like wink at all these like solo series or solo movies.
Yeah,
it's like where the fuck is the super team?
Well, it's like and it's a great joke that like always gets made, especially with Marvel. Like Marvel, because it's like so many superheroes are based in New York that it's always like where is everybody? Like, if the Fantastic Four is fighting somebody, like the fucking Avengers mansion's right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a really cool nod in this final episode, where it was, and it was just like at first you're like, okay, maybe
fucking dickheads.
Yeah, at first you're like maybe it's just gonna be like like a shot of them or something, like like just a still shot or really quick or something. But like you can tell, like I think they actually filmed. They had to have actually filmed these like brief parts for this.
I wouldn't be surprised if the reason that Jason Momoa and fucking Ezra Miller were able to be in it was because they were probably already on the like adjacent sound stages.
They're both shooting at the moment.
Exactly. Yeah. They were probably like readily available to do like a little bit.
Totally.
Which I guarantee also their stuff was shot completely separately, and they had body doubles for when Peacemaker walked by them.
Oh, totally.
So it's like, and that little bit was funny too.
It was such a
good running joke about Aquaman through the series.
Definitely. They even made so let's see, they made the Aquaman joke, they made a Green Arrow joke.
Yeah. They did. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and it's like cool. It's really cool because it builds just builds out the universe and the connectivity so much.
Yeah.
Better. Like in these like really quick, convenient, and like you don't question it kind of moments, where it's like I haven't seen Green Arrow ever like on a screen like this, like no offense to Stephen Amell,
but we're familiar enough with the character.
Yeah, and so it's like it's easy to reference, and they continue to breathe more life the more they do that shit.
Yeah, I think that's I've said it before. It's one of the few things that DC has over Marvel in a lot of cases, or at least had at this point. Their characters have been part of the public like discourse because they were fucking huge way before Marvel's characters became as big in like mainstream public discussions.
Yeah, and so it's, I don't know, it's just a good time to like really try and promote that there is some connected, like they are connected in some way in this, and. So yeah, I just overall though, like I said, definitely a fucking great show. Like I think it's gonna be cool to see where season 2 takes these characters.
Even though I have zero idea what direction they're gonna take, I feel like that's like as much of a blessing as it is a curse.
Well, yeah, because as a viewer, you're just sort of like, all right, it's a mystery. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's the fun about like watching a show is that you don't know what's gonna fuking happen.
I mean, and especially a show in terms of Peacemaker, he's a DC villain. Mm-hmm. But you can't, and there are way fewer cases where you can be like, oh, they might do this storyline next. It's a lot
for sure.
It's a lot smaller of a character.
And that's actually one of the reasons why it's a great character to use to start building out the DC EU or whatever the fuck they're doing. Because there's a history. You use like his costume is like a very comic accurate costume. Yeah. But like you said, there's no stakes in his like his storylines. Yeah. Nobody's going to be like, according to Peacemaker 22, and so it's like you can do what you want with the character. You can plug him into like other characters' story arcs. You can, and you can do. He's just an open-ended character.
Make him a Coulson of sorts.
Oh, totally. I mean, I don't know if he could be as as background as a Coulson though. Like that Coulson was specifically meant, I think, to just be like that background conduit. Like John Cena's breakout performance here has made him has given him a spotlight.
Oh, absolutely.
And I don't think that his character could be like in the shadows necessarily, but the team he works with could probably.
Oh, they're gonna be the Coulsons. Absolutely.
But like Peacemaker, I think will really like. And Vigilante, I think those two will go out to like be. You'll probably flesh out more of like what they do solo.
Vigilante was a fucking joy to watch in the show.
Oh yeah, well, and because right off the bat, like people were like knocking it, like who's this half-assed Deadpool or whatever, and what was cool about it is that it became a character that had much different and a much different emotional depth. Yeah. You know what I mean? Had different sets of problems.
By emotional depth, you mean none?
Well, no, but that's the thing. I mean, that's what gives you it. Like
Deadpool is at least the Ryan Reynolds interpretation of Deadpool is a very emotionally driven character, and Vigilante is a sociopath.
Yeah, who's driven by like weird loyalties to certain people.
Yeah. And then a flagrant disregard for the livelihood of others.
Yeah, and you see him start in one place and kind of like he attaches himself to more people as the story goes, which is kind of interesting. But But that being said, he is definitely like a definitively fucking crazy character.
Oh.
You know, holding like a bunch of nurses at gunpoint, being like, "They saw my face. Should I kill them now?" Like, you know, like, it gives you this edge every time you have a good comedic break with him. Then it brings you back in with something like, "Oh yeah, dude, he does just like killing people."
Oh, dude, I need to look up who the actor was because he was in Harry Potter.
Who, the guy that plays Vigilante?
Yeah.
I don't remember his name either. But yeah, overall,
Freddie Stroma is the name of the actor. I'm gonna see who he played in Harry Potter because Kate blew her mind. Kate's a total Harry Potter nerd.
Well, I wonder who he played.
Yeah,
Probably somebody fairly inconsequential.
probably. I mean, let me see. Harry Potter, Freddie Stroma.
But yeah, I wonder what the big bad will be for season 2 of Peacemaker. That'll be kind of the interesting thing to check out. Because I can't picture what it would be off the top of my head. I mean, Waller's obviously going to probably have more of a role.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of being an antagonist in this next season. But
yeah, man. I don't know. I don't know what direction they're going. And I think, well, I think the butterflies end up turning into a really effective antagonistic force. Yeah. That weren't outright evil. They end up being a lot more complex than I thought they were. So it'll be fun to see how they follow that up.
Yeah. I mean, it'll definitely be interesting. Because you can't do something like take over the world, you know, back-to-back seasons kind of thing. So you got to do like something, I think, like it was like a bigger villain to fight. You got to do something a little more like close to home.
Now,
you know?
Judo Master's the last one standing. He's gonna go for all of them.
He's just gonna steal all the flaming hot Cheetos, and Peacemaker's gonna have to fight him for it. Give the world their Cheetos back, Judo Master.
So Freddie Stroma played Cormac McLagan in Harry Potter. He was the goalkeeper for the Gryffindor Quidditch team.
Oh.
Who Ron beat out.
Oh. Well, so he sucked at Quidditch.
Yeah,
no, that's not true. Ron had like the luck on his side, or Ron he thought he had luck on his side.
Did he?
Yeah, because in the book, what Harry does is he gets that potion, the Felix, whatever it is, and he pretends to slip it to Ron because he wants Ron to feel confident. Yeah, and so it's like he purposely like does it so Ron sees him like do something really quick, and then Ron is like, oh, okay, he slams the drink and he's like, let's fucking do it, you know, like let's play Quidditch, you know, right after that. And so it's cool because at the end of it, you know, it's just like it's literally just Harry like being like, nah, dude, it was all you. Like,
it was all placebo. You know? No, Kate picked that up. Kate was like, I recognize this guy, and that's interesting. She looked it up and she was like, he's from Harry Potter. Just like we didn't talk about it much, but The Witcher season 2, one of the sorceress ladies was from Harry Potter as well, and that blew Kate's mind. But
The Witcher season 2 was solid, man.
It was solid. I was thinking we just never really got around to talking about it for Matinee Edition because it released alongside so much stuff. It was the same week as Spider-Man. Yeah,
it definitely kind of there was like some hype building up to it, and then it got kind of overtaken by other stuff. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it definitely was like
definitely a middle act.
Solid.
You know?
I would say like it was strange. Like it ended. God damn, this fucking plant is attacking me. It ended in a place where I was surprised that was the season finale. Yeah. Where I was like, whoa, dude, I thought that we're gonna get like a bigger like, you know, end storyline. Yeah. And where it ended was like it makes sense for like them maybe like furthering the story in another season or something, you know, but it felt like cut off almost.
Yeah. It definitely felt like it was the most like it was the first show in a while that I'd seen where I was like, this is definitely not a decisive endpoint. There's more to come. Yeah. Somebody would watch that and be like, is there more? Like, is that the end of the season? You know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. It felt like a mid-season break. Almost,
exactly.
You know?
And, you know, I felt like this season was particularly effective at, like, deepening the relationships between characters and sort of setting the stage for what's to come to a point. Yeah. And now they're going to be off to the races with a third, and we'll be surprised if the third's, like, the ending to the current story arc that they have going on. Yeah. Because they said there's an 8-season plan, I believe.
Which is fucking intense,
man. It's intense.
I mean, so we've mentioned the Amazon Lord of the Rings show that they're developing.
Yeah.
That is like, apparently there's like an internal thing that was like Jeff Bezos wants his own Game of Thrones series. And so that's been like why they've been attempting to do like a lot of stuff. That's where this Lord of the Rings project comes from. I feel like The Witcher is like their Netflix's Game of Thrones series, but it has a real potential to have a bigger world. People can reference it in other works if they want, but it's really accessible the way they've presented it. And so if they could pull off that many seasons, I wouldn't even fucking question it. You know what I mean?
They've already broadened the universe out a bit. They did the animated film, which we just talked about. I think it's called Night of the Wolf.
Yeah, and I fell asleep watching it, but don't let
not
that
because it was
dissuade
bad.
You.
Not because it was bad.
It was badass from what I saw. And
then they're doing a spin-off. I don't know if you saw the trailer for that. The spin-off, the spin-off trailer was the end credits scene at the end of the second season. It's about the world as the convergence happened and humans came into it. It looks like it's gonna be following a bunch of elves.
That'll be really interesting.
So like far enough detached that it probably won't have a significant impact on The Witcher's main story.
Yeah.
But a cool thing for fans that want a bit more.
Yeah, build out the world.
Yeah, exactly.
It gives you gives you your itch in between the seasons of The Witcher.
This is something what we were talking about, making lore and making storylines accessible in Destiny. Talk about this is the fucking way to do it. Now the Witcher, like, they reference all this shit that's happened in the past throughout 2 seasons, build that mystery, and now they're doing a spin-off series with a completely different cast for the people that want to watch it,
Yeah.
If it's big, tons of people will watch it. Get new people into The Witcher.
Oh yeah.
But it's gonna send the fan. You're giving the fans that wanted a bone without, like we talked about the Book of Boba Fett, without sort of making the stakes go super into The Witcher proper. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and I think it's a good point. This property is gonna be it's gonna be interesting to just see as they develop it more and more.
Yeah.
Because of that, like you've had, at this point you're attached to a lot of these characters. It's something that you can. I don't know. It hasn't overstayed its welcome nearly, I guess, is what I'm trying to say there.
Yeah.
It's you're just beginning to really get into this next big series. And that's kind of one of those, that's why it's interesting to watch as some series get developed, where you think 1 season, 2 seasons, but if there's a longevity plan, it's almost interesting to see how they roll out certain things, like character relationships and stuff.
Dude, and the cool reveals that happen along the way that might have been quietly set up without you really piecing it together. I mean, the fucking last scene in The Witcher was the reveal that it's fucking Ciri's dad is leading Nilfgaard.
Yeah.
Which I was like, what the fuck?
I know, dude. I was just scratching my head there, what?
I blew my mind, to be honest.
But again, you're just I just want to know how that fucking happened.
Yeah, I know. It's
you're not that's fucking weird. You're just I don't with barely anything about this world. So
with the shit that's happened in the universe so far, I'm like, yeah, cool. Her dad's leading the bad guys.
Exactly. It's
I'm down.
I'm in there.
I mean, it was pretty sweet. And, well, I think if there's one sort of overarching theme to Matinee Edition, shit that has a plan is usually a lot better than stuff that's playing it fast and loose.
And that brings me. I wanted to bring up the Batman.
Okay, quick.
Before,
cool.
Before we go too far.
Cool.
Mainly because there's been, you're at the point with that production where it's just around the corner to drop, and so you're starting to see.
I'm hyped. I got my tickets.
New things kind of coming out about it, and one of them recently was that Paul Dano, the guy who plays the Riddler, apparently was had real trouble sleeping during the filming of this because his character was so fucking intense, and I was like, oh man, that's giving me Joker vibes, Heath Ledger vibes, but I mean not to say that Heath Ledger wasn't the only actor that had fucking trouble with the Joker role, but
yeah, but I think it's. I think the Heath Ledger Joker has such a mythos attached to it because of Heath Ledger's death so shortly afterwards, and
Well, yeah, and I mean the almost like direct tie between him, that role, and him killing himself.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's developed this sort of narrative around it.
Well, and even before that, like apparently he had reached out to like Jack Nicholson before that and talked to him about playing the role, and Nicholson had expressed like that he had went through mental distress, like
Really?
absorbing that role a bit.
Even Nicholson.
Yeah, dude, and Nicholson's been known. I mean, that's one of the things he's known for is playing crazy, right?
Well, yeah, I just
and
imagine
so, like,
when I think of Batman '89 and his Joker, it's a very playful Joker in comparison to like
it is. But it's a dark Joker.
Yeah, it is.
Which is interesting. It's not as raw of a Joker as Heath Ledger's.
Yeah.
It's more, like you said, kind of playful and whimsical.
Yeah.
But it has
but there's the darker undertones.
Yeah, it has more. There's like a more direct maliciousness that his Joker presents.
Yes.
Whereas like Heath Ledger's Joker kind of is lashing out at the world,
Trying to prove a point.
yeah.
Trying to have the last laugh.
And so, I'm interested because of all this. Like, I'm interested to see how Paul Dano's character really unravels in the movie, because it seems like he's had, he absorbed that role. Apparently, he had some interest, or some input into the character design.
Cool.
It was his suggestion to like have him wrapped up in plastic, because he was like, a serial killer of this caliber would be really worried about leaving any sort of evidence behind, including like skin cells or
isn't
stuff.
Isn't the design, it like looks just like the drawings of the Zodiac Killer?
I mean, it's not
similar.
Like, yeah, it's like it's definitely it's one of the influences of the character,
Cool.
which is cool. And like because the Zodiac Killer is one of the weirdest, like, fucking
most
mysteries
incredible
to me.
mysteries.
Yeah,
There's a dude that died recently that like somebody, they think that he might have been the Zodiac Killer now. Yeah, but whatever. I mean, that's such it's a
one day that the world will know. But
talk about a or maybe never. Talk about a
that'd be-
captivating fucking thing to base your character off of. I mean,
exactly.
we're talking about like sort of whimsical and playful characters. That sums up the Riddler quite well. I mean, there have been darker takes on it in the comics, but based on what like most of the iterations of that character that I know of are very like, I'm gonna get a leg up on you, Batman. I'm smarter than you.
Yeah, I like most of his rogues gallery. He has like you said, he has like some weighty storyline moments, and he definitely, like, the Riddler's proved that he's one of the only people that's been able to deduce Batman's identity and all this shit, and like
he deduces it, but then he's like, but it can't be.
Yeah, and but that's the thing. It's like
he convinces himself otherwise.
It's like it's weird with this character, because like you're like, they tell you on one hand that he's like a hyper smart, like really, really deductive person, and so like you're like, okay, yeah, like it makes sense that he'd be able to get like Batman's ID, for instance.
Yeah.
But then they turn around and be like, yeah, but he actually doesn't believe it. For some reason, he's convinced that like it's not real or something. And it's like, but you just told me he's like super smart. Like, I don't get it.
I think the bit is that he's so smart and he questions everything so much that he gets to the deduction that he's like, but what if?
I mean, to be fair, it's like the same thing that they do with like every Batman character. Who,
it makes sense.
Because like they eventually write a storyline where somebody discovers his identity, and then they're like, wait, Bruce Wayne was just skiing. So
I mean, they were. Yeah.
And so anyway,
and that's also sort of playing off the joke with Hush as well. But talk about a character. I've said this before on the pod. Talking about a character well due for an adaptation in live action. I want to see Hush sometime.
I mean, yeah, I feel like there's so much you can do before you get to Hush personally. But Hush is a great storyline.
Yeah. Or a good complementary character.
Sort of. Definitely not one of my favorites. Like,
Hush is up there.
Hush
is up there on my list.
I wouldn't even say he's in my top 10. He's probably like a little bit below that. But like it's a cool character. Like, it is, and I think eventually it'll be, if there's like more and more successful Batman movies, I think they'll continue to look for storyline inspirations. Yeah, and that will be one of them. Know what I mean?
I do think if
it was such a big story.
Yeah, if there's a phenomenal Hush pitch, I can see it happening. But it'll have to be like perfect.
Yeah, because it's one of those storylines where it became such like a moment in Batman's history. Yeah. That like you're gonna have those polarizing issues where it's like some fans will be like, "Don't fuck up the storyline." Yeah. And then other fans will be like, "I don't even know what Hush is, so introduce me to the character." Yeah. And so it'll be dicey, but I bet you we will see a version of it down the road. Because I mean, this one seems to heavily play on potentially like a couple of different things, and I think that'll be successful. Like if they just pick elements.
I mean, speaking of the Riddler figuring out Batman's identity, they sort of allude to that in the trailer.
Well, that's the big mystery, right?
Yeah.
So like they allude to him knowing that it's Bruce Wayne because like there's like that scene that got released where it was like a car driving into a funeral.
Yeah.
And like in that scene, the Riddler has attached a bomb to somebody and it says to Batman, and clearly Bruce Wayne's in the room. Yeah. And so it's like that's a message right there.
In another trailer, I don't know how it fucking works. But in another trailer, you see, I'm pretty sure, Batman in that room talking with the guy in the full suit.
Yeah. Well, and then there's like the great mystery shot of like the trailers where it's like Batman talking to somebody behind some glass.
Yeah.
That's what
Who knows, man?
That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I know. Which I think
you know it.
We see who I assume to be the Riddler getting arrested in the show.
That's really where I think it is.
I think. Well, it would be fascinating if. Like really playing off him being a genius. Mm-hmm. Like if he has just already calculated a sequence of events, knows what's going to be happening, and doesn't even have to pull any strings. It's going to happen.
Well, it's like Loki at that in Avengers, right? He's like, take me.
Yeah, take me. I know. I already have a plan.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
It's unfolding.
It's unfolding. You have to get in front of it somehow.
Yeah,
and we can sort of. That would also be great for hashing out the detective elements of Batman.
Absolutely. Which is something I really want out of this movie, and I have been promised.
Exactly. I mean, if we can see this like insurmountable mystery where no one's figuring it out, and even with the Riddler behind the bars and he isn't cracking, like there's still fucking tragedies happening at every corner, and Batman has to figure out.
What would be wild is if like it's something like that where it's like, what if the Riddler is the ultimate red herring in this, where it's like not even halfway through the movie, quarter way through the movie, Riddler's in jail, Batman has to go consult him because some other big fucker is like doing something. Penguin's got his fucking hands into something else, and so he's got to chase down some leads. I'm still wondering what the extent of Penguin's like role is in this movie.
I know. Even in the fucking trailers, we see like the seawalls around Gotham blowing up and water's trying to rush into the city.
What I'm saying, dude. I'm wondering if they're diving into like a, what was that fucking storyline? That Batman storyline. It was there's like the storyline where Batman or Gotham gets like fucking shredded, basically. Like it gets all torn up and like it's like there's like an earthquake or some like natural disaster that happens. And
it just goes into anarchy.
Fucking goddamn
this plant, man.
And and so like basically like sections of the city like get cordoned off like by different people, and like I wonder if they're gonna go that route, because that would be an interesting follow up to a movie where like you have to have Batman and maybe like introduce a couple other characters who have to like bounce between a couple of villains. I mean, we haven't even seen the first movie. Let's not speculate on a potential sequel.
Yeah, you know who I really want to see. Fucking, I want them to bring back Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mr. Freeze. I mean,
the multiverse is real.
The multiverse is real. They're doing it. I mean, even if it's not obviously the same character, I just want to see Arnold.
It'd be fucking dope. What killed the Ice Age? Or no, what?
Everyone,
that was not the joke.
Everyone,
it's like,
chill.
Yeah, he's like about to freeze a fossil or whatever. He's like, that's what it is. He's like, what killed the dinosaurs?
The Ice Age.
Oh, and then he just like freezes everything. That movie is so fucking ridiculous, but
it's crazy.
I guarantee you that this next Batman movie is gonna be like something to definitely fucking watch. It's gonna. It looks gritty and dark, and just like the Dark Knight himself, there's so much mystery that's still surrounding the movie to me.
Yeah.
That
despite I for a while thought that they were doing too many promos, too many teasers, but in hindsight, they're done putting stuff out. The promotional campaign is live for it, but they're not really showing much beyond what the trailer's already shown. I still have zero idea what the fuck's going on.
Oh yeah.
All you can do is theorize.
Exactly. And at this point, like I'm happy to have just that, like just some mystery, because it'll make them going into that movie all the more fun. Yeah. Batman. You know Batman as a character. So what the fuck are they gonna do with him?
Speaking of Well, we can make this the last thing we talk about for the show, but Stranger Things. Speaking of not knowing what the fuck is going on in a show.
Yeah, this is. I mean, they just dropped a bunch of posters this last week or so.
Yep.
And
I think it was the day we recorded the last show.
And it's a mystery. Like one of them is like, it looks like
I have all 4 here.
Winona Ryder is in Russia potentially with Hopper.
Yeah, and the fucking the conspiracy theory guy. I'm forgetting his name.
And I don't remember his name either.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the bearded guy.
Yeah.
But like everything we've seen from this is like,
but
so
I think
disconnected from each other.
Yeah. I think what's interesting is, and they said this in one of them, they attached like a letter from the showrunners, and it was like, this is the beginning of the end. Season 5 is going to be it.
Yeah.
We're doing 2 volumes for season 4, and it's going to set up the final sprint. The show.
And it's like one of the volumes comes out.
It's like late May and then another one early July.
Yeah.
So which is super cool.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it's gonna play into, I think, the same thing with like the posters, like the different parties, and their storylines, I think, will come together
and also
that way,
to give them ample time as well.
And so it's just a question of where everybody's at.
I got the 4 posters. We got Russia, looks like Hopper, Joyce, and the fucking conspiracy theory guy. We got 11 in a lab by herself. We got most of the kids in the Creel house, along with Steve and Robin and Nancy. And then we got the California gang, which looks like the Byers and fucking maybe Mike. And then we got there's a poster of all of them together.
Yeah,
like
they're all connected. It looks like there's like some sort of like,
looks like a portal in the middle. It's
exactly.
like a trippy house.
And so that is what I'm wondering is like, is that a nod to like how they are all going to end up kind of getting connected with each other?
Yeah, maybe.
Some sort of like weird portal that they stumble upon.
Who knows?
Connects them across the world.
You know what? I mean, like,
from California to Russia.
Yeah. Fuck, man. Who am I to say at this point?
It's all speculation, man.
I think
it's all speculation. But
what's so great about Stranger Things, and I can sort of tie this back to Peacemaker to a point, is there's like Peacemaker, there's a little bit of history to it. He is a character that has been in comics, but like the show itself was relatively original, and Stranger Things can take so much inspiration from other like stories and a bunch of Spielberg films, a bunch of horror movies from the 80s. And like it's borrowing an aesthetic, it's borrowing a lot of concepts, but it's creating something new and something that is good and something that's ended up being relatively original despite using a lot of derivative elements. And I think it's fucking awesome to hear that what we've talked about before was true. They are getting ready to wrap it up. Because I don't think it's going to overstay its welcome, especially with how long it's been between seasons. I think they're really setting themselves up for success here.
Yeah, and it is. We've mentioned it multiple times. It's the smart thing to do, where it's just end it on a high note rather than letting it just sort of. It's better to burn out than to fade away.
It's the Seinfeld thing,
Oh well, I mean, yeah, Seinfeld's like such a strange case, though, if you ask me, because they didn't end it on like the way the last episode was like the weirdness. I think they didn't overstay their welcome necessarily. I think like shows like The Office did, which I hate to say, but you definitively notice the weaker.
Well, as soon as Michael Scott left,
yeah, you just notice weaker writing and like weaker performances and stuff, and like by the time you get to the last episode, you're just like, it just all feels so forced.
Yeah,
and
well, I think. I don't think Stranger Things is going to end up overstaying its welcome. That's why I liken it to Seinfeld. They decided to cut that movie off or that show off while it was at the top, rather than wait for it to sort of slowly die and shrivel up before ending it. And I think that's, once again, having a plan, knowing where you're taking it, and just ending it when it's due time. And they even said you can expect to see more stuff from this universe.
That is the question, though. Like, I don't know, as much as I love Stranger Things, I don't know if I'm like really interested in like auxiliary stories. You know what I mean?
For me, it depends.
Yeah.
If they're gonna, it depends on how much time they take away from the franchise.
I think a lot for me as a viewer comes from like following the cast in these stories. You know what I mean? And so like, I mean, you see it with that random 11 episode.
Yeah.
11's not a like interesting enough character by herself to like make me care about other characters that I've never been introduced to at that point.
Yeah.
And so it's
I guess that episode was very overt.
And I mean, you can liken that episode to the episode of The Office in season 9 where they spend all the episode at Dwight's farm, and you get introduced to more of the Schrutes, and it's like, I get what you're doing. You're trying to see if this will play. And I, you know, I don't think there's. That being said, I don't think there's not like a demographic that'll be into more Stranger Things auxiliary kind of stories. I just don't. I don't know. Like I'm happy to see like where they end it here, you know, and just ride that out.
I think if they end Stranger Things after season 5 and they give it a few years, you know, let the fan base settle. Because I feel like if you do a spinoff like right after ending something, it can cheapen the thing that came before.
Yeah,
and I think. Like, you let it settle, let it go for a bit, let the people forget. You know, it'll not forget, but let the people let it settle. People will remember it fondly, and then 3-4 years down the line, hey, we're doing another live action show. Maybe not focusing on all the same characters, but in the universe of Stranger Things.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think some people will be into it. It doesn't sound sound that appealing to me. Like it's not like I said, like for me as a viewer, and that's fine. Like there's, you know, it's like what's cool about being a fan. You don't have, you know, it like I just think it'll be great to like, again, just sort of see their conclusion with this, like these characters and these people that you've been like following in this like particular universe. And what would be great is if the Duffer Brothers went on and just did something else. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that's another important element. I don't think the Duffer Brothers should be attached to it if they do another thing.
No, I mean it'd be like.
Let them keep going, and then let the creative vision of somebody else come and take over.
Yeah, like it'd be great to have them as like consultants for a project or something. But you know, like
give the actual creative reins to someone else.
At that point in time, give somebody who's who is a fan that has the credentials, you know, to like step up and like include more. You know, that would be interesting.
We have so many through lines. That's how you can tell we've been doing this podcast for 98 episodes. Is this 98?
No,
97?
It's close. It's like somewhere in there. Yeah,
97. We say that all the time, whether it's in context of Star Wars or like Harry Potter in terms of like the fucking game coming out, where it's like there's a threshold when stuff needs to be left to the fans because they're gonna have more interesting ideas than like trying to force like a corporate entity to crank out season after season.
Yeah,
like there will be Stranger Things fans, and somebody will come up with an interesting idea. And if it merits production, it should get made. You know?
Definitely.
And I think you can expand that to a bunch of different things.
Well, yeah, and you know, at that point in time, it's literally just up to the consumer to see if it's worth it. You know, once it's made, you know, it's and that's what I mean. Like, if they make something, I'm sure I'll watch it. You know.
Yeah, you got to give everything its fair shake.
But like, if there's like a petition going around for like we need more Stranger Things, like I won't be one to sign it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, you know, it's like
absolutely.
Yeah,
I think the Duffer Brothers have earned my respect to a point that I will not question their decision to retire the current cast.
Yeah,
and go on to something. And if there's going to do something, make it be completely new.
Yeah, do some new, fun, awesome work, and see where else your career takes you.
Yeah,
I mean that's always like, you know, the danger. You know, getting stuck with the thing that you were popular for, and then. You know, you end up as a creative, you just end up trapped in with those characters. I hate to say it, somebody like Kevin Eastman, the creator of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's kind of it. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which I love. And
Sensation.
I can gush on, and I will forever love. And has a huge fan base. It was like the only thing that guy got known for, you know, and as an artist, you could have done other things, you know, and you just get trapped in there because you keep feeding that, you know, you're like, yes, everybody loves it and I can make money off of it. So I'm just going to keep plugging away.
Yeah.
That being said, by no hate on TMNT or Stranger Things, I just think or the Duffer Brothers.
Yeah.
Or Kevin Eastman, who seems like a really nice guy.
Yeah.
But
they're all probably really nice guys, but creative variety. You know, it's like bring your artistic hand and your artistic direction to something else.
Well, it's just one of those. Yeah, you worry about people like the Duffer Brothers. You worry about them getting stagnant within their own, project if they get bored, and then you just lose the those creatives and
like the Game of Thrones guys.
Yeah, what were they, like DB and
whatever the fuck? Their terrible idea for an alternate history show that's never gonna get made. Hopefully.
Well, there is like a House of Dragon show that's gonna get made.
No, not that. They're not doing that.
No, they're not. I've heard that they're not involved in too much right now.
I'm not surprised. Their pitch to HBO was to do a alternate history show where the Confederacy won. The Civil War.
So stupid, dude.
I know, it sounds bad, right?
There's a show on Amazon where the Nazis won, and
alternate history is very mixed. We should do.
It's just fucking boring. Honestly.
That feels like you could find some good stuff for Whack Arnold. It's probably like crazy alternate history shit.
Oh yeah, well, because it's a trope that's just been beaten to death. It's and because it's always World War II. Like that's the thing. It's always World War II. It's like, what would happen if the Nazis won instead? Yeah. Oh, they'd probably have vampires and werewolves that now we have to fight and kill or something. It's like always stupid ass shit.
Did you ever watch Fringe?
No. I remember checking it out at one point in time and then turning it off.
Dude, talk about they made a joke. Fucking one of the characters in Parks and Rec made a joke about Fringe in an episode I just watched, and dude, I watched that show a while ago. The first season is like the first season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where it's Monster of the Week, sort of hopping around, like paranormal crimes.
Yeah.
And then the end, it's like, oh, the main character went to sleep and woke up in an alternate universe where slightly different events happened, and
shit.
It looks like Gotham because there are blimps everywhere. And
that's kind of interesting.
I know. But it's not.
But it's not.
It's not. It's fucking bizarre.
They tried to make it interesting.
Alternate history is weird.
Yeah.
We could probably do an episode about bad alternate history shows and stuff.
There are probably quite a few we could pick out.
Did you ever watch Man in the High Castle?
That's the show I was talking about.
Yes.
That's the Amazon show.
Did you watch it though?
I remember, like I was just kind of saying there, I remember watching a bit of it, like a bit of the first episode, by that, and being like, "This looks fucking stupid."
I watched the first two seasons,
and then I just didn't want to watch it anymore.
I watched the first two seasons once again with my folks. Only love to them, but they were watching it, so I watched it, and then I didn't watch the last two. Literally the last season ends with them opening a portal into the multiverse and connecting all the alternate histories.
And that's what I mean. It's like, I just do not care that hard about like a subject like that. Like,
it's bizarre, man.
All right. Well, on that note, we're going to leave it here because there's
good episode, my friend.
There's more to look forward to as always. We're getting we are like maybe like 3 or 4 episodes off of doing of being at number 100. So
we'll do a special. We'll come up with something.
It'll be interesting to figure out what we should do for that one.
Maybe we should dress up for this audio medium.
There you go. It's always good to be a little more visual in an audio medium. But, yeah, right. We'll leave it there. Hot dogs, you know it. Make yourself a corn dog, listen to Old Heart Radio.
There you go. Follow us on all the socials. Go to YouTube. Tell a friend.
Or an acquaintance.
See somebody on the street?
Yeah.
Grab their arm. Say, listen to Old Heart Radio.
Look them in the eye and say that.
Yeah.
Like just that. You need to listen to Old Heart Radio.
And then when the police come and ask you why you just yelled, watch Old Heart Radio at that person, tell them to listen to our podcast.
Exactly. Have a good day.
Later.